Hello and welcome to Football Daily, where today we're taking a look at some of the nominees for the 2010 Golden Boy Award to see what they're up to nearly a decade on. Selected by Tuttosport, the award honours the best young talents in European football. And though we haven't included 2010 winner Mario Balotelli, there are some intriguing candidates on our list. Goalkeeper, David De Gea. The 2009-10 Atletico Madrid squad was far from today's rock-solid incarnation, but there was quality running all the way through it. The midfield boasted Portuguese legend Semedo, as well as Thiago and a 17-year-old Koke, while the front line was led by Diego Forlan and Sergio Aguero. Somehow they contrived to finish 9th in La Liga, but Tuttosport saw enough promise in a young goalkeeper called David De Gea to nominate him for the Golden Boy Award, a trophy teammate Aguero had lifted 3 years earlier. De Gea was already a strong shot stopper at 19, ending the season with a Europa League medal, and he played every league game the following campaign, this time helping Atleti to 7th, conceding 8 fewer goals than the previous year. His reputation grew to such an extent that Alex Ferguson skipped a League Cup fixture to go and watch the keeper in Madrid, and both Spain manager Vicente Del Bosque and Iker Casillas declared the youngster the future of the national team. United would pay £19 million for him in 2011, then a British record for a keeper, following the retirement of Edwin van der Sar, and though the Spaniard won just a single league title before Ferguson's departure, he has gone on to become one of the best shot stoppers of the modern age, and arguably the best in Premier League history. Perhaps he can't rival Peter Schmeichel's 500k switch to Old Trafford for value, but for quality, De Gea might well be the greatest ever to wear United's #1 shirt. Defender, Jama Teep. One of 3 Champions League winners to make RXI, Jama Teep was born in Germany but declared his international allegiance to Cameroon, his father's country, and made his international bow in 2010 at 18. Just months earlier he had scored in his debut for Schalke, earning the Man of the Match award as they drew against eventual champions Bayern Munich. And it would be a season to remember for the teenager, as Schalke finished 2nd in the Bundesliga and he was called up for the Summer's World Cup. A man mounting at 6'5", Matip was always strong in the air, winning 70% of his aerial duels, and in his early days he was an aggressive defender, adept at stepping out from the back line with an astonishing record of 7.2 tackles and interceptions a match. He was also often relied upon in build-up play, averaging nearly 6 long balls per 90 minutes, and though Schalke were keen to keep him, he was able to run down his contract, joining Liverpool on a free in 2016. Matip was a key player in his maiden campaign under Jurgen Klopp, helping the side improve from conceding 50 league goals to 42, and he has largely retained his place over the subsequent years, starting the 2018-19 Champions League final as the Reds kept a clean sheet in their victory over Tottenham. While hardly world-class, Matip rose from an exciting prospect to become a reliable and useful defender at the highest level. This one is another good shout from Tuttosport. Defender, Matteo Masaccio. Villarreal has always had a reputation for a strong defence, producing players like Godin, Bailly and Bruno over the years. And for 7 seasons, Matteo Masaccio was the first name on the team sheet, at least when he was fit. The Argentinian came up at River Plate but moved to Spain when he had just 11 senior matches to his name. However, his rise was swift, and a year after his arrival, he was a member of the national team. Though just 5'11" and consequently losing more than half of his aerial duels, Masaccio was known for his exceptional reading of the game, regularly winning possession more than 6 times a match for the Yellow Submarine. With him beside them, Bailly and Gabriel Paulista brought in around £45 million, and it was only Masaccio's poor injury record which prevented him making a move of his own. But after 7 years in the east of Spain, the defender got his transfer, switching to AC Milan for £16 million, where he established himself as a regular following the departure of Leonardo Bonucci in 2018. Now the preferred partner to Alessio Romagnoli, Masaccio is less active than ever, with just 2.5 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes. But he has adapted well to possession football, regularly completing over 60 passes a match and maintaining a 90% pass accuracy. Sadly, he has only won 6 caps for his national side, alarming given that Ramiro Funes Mori has 24. Another potential star ruined by fitness. Defender, Mamadou Sakho. Born in an area of Paris known as the Drop of Gold, Mamadou Sakho looked just as precious to PSG when he burst into their first team the day after his 17th birthday. The Frenchman, a child of Senegalese parents, had joined the club at 12, and after moving back from striker to defender, quickly established himself as a star at youth level, and subsequently with the seniors, even captaining the team for the first time at the age of 17 years and 8 months, a record for French football. By the time he was 21, Sakho had made nearly 150 appearances for the Parisians, and was a fixture in the national squad, earning his club's captaincy on a full-time basis. At the time, he won possession for his team 4.6 times a game, completed 90% of his tackles he attempted, and won 72% of his aerial duels, close to Virgil van Dijk's record of 73% last season. And though the arrival of Carlo Ancelotti saw him stripped of the captaincy and chastised for putting on weight, Sakho did help PSG win just the third league title in their history in 2013, before making an £18 million switch to Liverpool. Sadly, Sakho's unconventional style was not enjoyed by the Anfield faithful, and after playing under half of the available games during 3 seasons with the Reds, he left for Crystal Palace, with Liverpool remarkably turning an £8 million profit on the deal. With just 2 international caps since 2015, it seems like the centre-back's time at the top is long over. Defender Diego Contento. Widely expected to become Germany's next great left-back, Diego Contento was a Bayern product and a Munich native, joining the Giants at 5 years old and spending the next 13 years in the academy, before breaking into the first team at 19 in February 2010. He would go on to make 9 Bundesliga appearances over the back half of the season, playing all 180 minutes of Bayern's Champions League semi against Lyon, as the club kept 2 clean sheets, and sitting on the bench for their final defeat at the hands of Inter. The next season, Contento was handed a starting berth by Louis van Gaal, and when he was sacked, interim coach Andres Jonker. But unfortunately, he found himself in and out of the side with injury, playing just 14 times in the league. In that time, he won possession 5 times a game, completed over 80% of his tackles, and was a key distributor from the back. So it was a surprise when Jupp Heynckes, appointed manager in the summer of 2011, elected to sign right-back Rafinha from Genoa, allowing Philipp Lahm to move back to the left-hand side and pushing Contento to the bench. The emergence of David Alaba made Contento less important still, and he would make just 8 appearances in all competitions in Bayern's historic treble-winning campaign of 2012-13, subsequently departing for Bordeaux after almost 20 years of service a year later. Though a regular in Bordeaux, Contento never regained the form of his early years, and in 2018, at the age of 29, he returned to Germany with Fortuna Düsseldorf, where he played just 1 game all season. Midfield, Yanam Villa. The original Arsenal midfield transfer saga, Yanam Villa was fresh out of the Rennes Academy in 2010, having missed just 3 Ligue 1 games as a 19-year-old in his maiden top-flight campaign. The Frenchman was instantly one of the best defensive midfielders in the division, putting up a massive 5.6 tackles and interceptions per game, and fitting comfortably into a possession midfield, losing the ball just 22 times all season, and even managing to win more free kicks than he gave away. At the time, Arsenal were, as usual, porous in the middle of the park, and in Villa's nationality and youth made his links to Arsene Wenger's side inevitable, as did his call-up to the national team in the summer of 2010, as the youngster was named man of the match on his debut. He continued to improve over the next 2 years, playing 75 out of the 76 Ligue 1 matches, and adding passing to his game with nearly 8 long balls per 90 minutes. However, he also developed a reputation as a troublemaker, receiving a ban from the France squad after going on an unauthorised night out while training with the under-21s. The Premier League rumours came to nothing, and Villa ended up in Russia with Rubin Kazan, before unsuccessful loans to Inter Milan, where he rarely played, and Sunderland, who he helped narrowly avoid relegation. Now back in France with St Etienne and 29 years old, he looks likely to end his career without winning a single major trophy. Midfielder Toni Kroos. Among a strong crop of midfielders, with Coutinho at Inter, Eriksen at Ajax and Jack Wilshere at Arsenal all making the Golden Boy shortlist, voters noticed the rise of Toni Kroos, who in 2010 was returning to Bayern Munich after 2 years on loan at Bayer Leverkusen. Back then, Kroos was not a true central midfielder, but a number 10, and in the 2009-10 season bagged 9 Bundesliga goals and 9 assists, a goal involvement every 131 minutes, despite only turning 20 halfway through the campaign. By comparison, the 30-year-old Xavi, playing in the heart of Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, was only involved in 16 goals, and Iniesta just 6. So it's no wonder that Bayern were keen to integrate Kroos as soon as possible, handing him a starting berth the following campaign and seeing him rack up 176 appearances over the next 4 years. In that time, he averaged close to 3 shots and 3 key passes a game, won back-to-back doubles and the Champions League. And when he eventually was allowed to join Real Madrid in 2014, having asked the club to let him leave, he was a World Cup winner as well, contributing 5 goals and assists in 7 games as Germany won the trophy for the 4th time. At Real, the change in position was immediately obvious, as Carlo Ancelotti attempted to mould him into a Xabi Alonso replacement. Kroos' shot numbers dropped to around 1 per game, and though he never matched the Spaniard's defensive output, he became one of the best distributors in the world, routinely averaging over 85% success with his long balls alone. Now 29, Kroos' immobility has started to detract from his overall contribution. But with another title and 3 European crowns to his name at the Bernabeu, we're sure he's happy with his career. Midfielder, Miralem Pjanic. For all his quality, Miralem Pjanic has only once surpassed a campaign he put up in 2009-10, when he scored 6 and assisted 10 in Ligue 1 with Lyon. Though Bosnian, Pjanic had grown up in Luxembourg and France, following the outbreak of the war in the Balkans, and 2 months after he turned 18, Lyon spent €7.5 million to sign him from Metz, with the aim of replacing the peerless club icon Juninho. Injuries limited him in the 2008-9 season, but a year later, Pjanic was flying. As well as his attacking contribution in domestic play, he scored 4 and assisted 3 in 9 Champions League appearances, helping Leganes reach the semi-finals, dispatching Real Madrid and Liverpool on the way. Unsurprisingly, he couldn't stay in France for much longer, and after enduring 2nd and 3rd place finishes in Ligue 1, he moved on to Roma for just €11 million, with coach Claude Puel deciding instead to put his trust in the talented but unreliable Yoann Gourcuff. 5 years in the Eternal City culminated in the 2015-16 season, where Pjanic delivered 22 Serie A goal involvements from the number 10 role, a quarter of Roma's tally of 83, the best tally in Italy. And as all good players tend to, he ended up at Juventus, where he has since won 3 titles, 3 cups, been named in the team of the season twice, and reached a Champions League final. Forward, Eduardo Salvio. As well as noticing Lukaku at Anderlecht and James Rodriguez at Porto, Tuttosport were not afraid of looking further afield in 2010. They shortlisted Andrea Balada at Dynamo Kiev and also pegged Eduardo Salvio for future stardom, who had joined Atletico Madrid from Argentine outfit Lanús in January and headed out to Benfica on loan in August. Salvio had contributed 3 goals in 500 minutes in Madrid and helped the Rojiblancos, then under Sanchez Flores, win the Europa League, breaking a 14-year run without silverware. And when he arrived in Lisbon, he must have expected to add to his trophy cabinet, with the Eagles newly crowned Portuguese champions. However, despite the 20-year-old contributing 11 goals and assists in 25 appearances across the Liga NOS and Europa League, Benfica went out at the semi-final of the continent and finished 21 points off the pace in domestic competition. Nonetheless, the club had seen enough, and though Salvio would return to Atleti for 1 year, when Simeone decided to move him on in 2012, Benfica signed the youngster permanently for around €13 million. He remained at the Estadio de Luz until July 2019, returning to his home country to join Boca Juniors. During his 8 seasons in Lisbon, he made over 250 appearances and was involved in 116 goals. And though it took him a while to lift his first cup in Portugal, he has since won 5 titles and 9 other trophies, reaching another 2 Europa League finals. Forward, Mattia Destro. With Balotelli winning the Golden Boy Award and Mattia Destro nominated, Italian football fans must have expected a decade of glory for the national team, spearheaded by a pair of world-class centre-forwards. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, and Destro, nicknamed the Wolfman, might have a claim to have had as disappointing a career arc as his countryman. Quite the feat. Like Ballo, Destro was an Inter Milan product, though he never played a game for the first team, and by the time the Golden Boy result was announced in 2010, he had just 8 top-flight appearances to his name. Those were at Genoa, who had signed the striker in a part exchange for their defender, Andrea Ranocchia. And though he scored only 2 league goals that year, Destro remained highly rated due to hitting 29 in 41 at youth level. Roma eventually got hold of him, and in 2013-14, Destro scored 13 in 20 Serie A starts, giving the 23-year-old a goal contribution every 88 minutes. Strongly linked with Chelsea and Real Madrid, he chose to stay in his homeland. But after a poor start to the 14-15 campaign, he was offloaded to Milan on loan. He has never surpassed that tally of 13 since, and thanks to injuries and his constant movement between clubs, at the age of 28, Destro has only hit double figures in a league season 3 times. He now plays for Bologna. Forward, Adam Ljajic. Before anyone knew what he was like on the field, football fans knew Adam Ljajic for his failed move to Man United in 2009. The Serb was announced as a United player in January that year, with the club revealing that he would spend the rest of the season back at Partizan on loan. But though he regularly returned to Carrington to train under Alex Ferguson, the Red Devils ultimately failed to obtain a work permit. Devastated, Ljajic took his talents to Florence instead, where he quickly emerged as an exciting wide forward. At 21, Ljajic scored 11 goals and laid on a further 8 in Serie A for La Viola, and his baseline numbers pointed to future stardom. With a goal or assist every 86 minutes from the wing, he was exceptional in every aspect of forward play, taking 4.6 shots a game, creating 2.4 chances for his teammates, and completing 2.6 dribbles. And as a consequence, Roma signed him, keen to find another prolific wide man to replace the Tottenham-bound Eric Lamela, who had scored 15 in the league. Sadly, the Giallorossi didn't see the best of him, a bit of a pattern in RXI. And though he put over 0.5 expected goals per game in a loan spell at Inter, he ended up at Torino, where he rediscovered his best form with 18 goal involvements in 2016-17. Nearly a decade in Italian football came to an end in 2018, with a switch to Besiktas. But Ljajic has never added to the league and cup double he won in 2009 with Partizan. United must feel glad they missed out. So that was RXI of the 2010 Golden Boys. Where are they now? Did you guys enjoy this series? Maybe we should do some more. Let me know in the comments below. And what competition / award should we look at? If you've enjoyed this video, why not head over to Squad Goals and check us out losing our heads at FIFA. And as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.